on my lesson plan, I was teaching about adding and subtracting. The classroom that I will have is for younger elementary students. Um, so today I'm going to teach you how to add and subtract. It's going to be really simple because it's going to be for younger aged students. And so to start with adding, many teachers like to use their fingers to teach adding, which is a great way. Also, there's many other things that you can use. I use on my paper just little dots that you can use that if you have one thing plus another thing, it equals two things. Using it on your fingers is the same way. Using one thing, if you add one more thing, how many more things do you have? You have two things total. Lots of students like to use their fingers, which is fine. That kind of becomes a problem the older they get because the questions get more advanced and you get more numbers than you have fingers. I would give students, once that they have learned all of the simple adding, I'll give them, as a teacher, a challenge of numbers that are over 10, 15 plus 20 or something like that, and see if they can figure it out on paper rather than using their fingers like they're used to. As far as subtraction goes, subtraction is a little more harder and students struggle with it a little bit more, but it's the same kind of concept as adding. Fingers are used a lot, so if you have two things and you subtract one, or the context that I will use it in is take away one thing, what do you have left? 2 minus 1 equals 1. In the same way on the paper is if you have two dots and you subtract or take away one, you are left with how many dots? One dot. And as a teacher, I will do lots of teaching as far as story problems go, because story problems can get a little bit more tough, and if your students are more advanced, they need to start learning story problems. So for example, a subtraction story problem would be Sam has 5 apples. If her brother eats 3 of them, how many apples does she have left? And then the students would use that story problem and their fingers or their hands or their paper or whatever to find the answer for that. One thing that's really important with adding and subtracting is making sure that the students know their symbols. And I just wrote down here on my paper all of the different symbols that there are. And there's, of course, they're going to know what adding and subtracting are after I do this lesson for my lesson plan, and the equal sign, because it's really important after students learn this stuff, what it means also. Once they know what those 3 symbols mean, I will introduce the other 2 symbols, which is division and multiplication. And they probably won't learn division and multiplication for a couple more years, but it's always won't hurt to teach them those as well. So thank you for listening to me teach you how to add and subtract.